The night was silent on the human colony world. The workshop stood alone on the edge of the settlement, its metal roof shaking softly in the cold wind. Inside, Ethan, a tired human mechanic, worked with dirty hands and heavy eyes. He was the kind of man who fixed things others had already given up on. But that night he felt something strange in the air. He kept hearing small sounds, the kind that made your skin tighten. He thought it was just the wind until the door banged open. A girl stepped inside, not human. Her skin glowed faintly in the dim light, silver blue like the reflection of water under a pale moon. Her eyes burned with an unnatural shine and her breathing was sharp, as if she had been running for her life. In her trembling hands was a strange object. Half glowing, half pulsing, Ethan froze. His wrench slipped from his hand and clattered to the floor. The girl shut the door behind her with shaking arms and pressed her back against it. She was young, maybe his age, but her face carried fear mixed with determination. For a long second, neither spoke. Ethan felt his heartbeat slam against his ribs. He had seen aliens before in the colony market, peaceful ones, merchants, travelers, but this was different. This one was not here for trade. She was here for survival. Her voice broke the silence. It was not soft, it was sharp like glass. "Do it now, human," she said, her tone shaking. "Or I'll do it myself." Ethan blinked. He did not understand, his mind raced. The object in her hands looked dangerous. Like a bomb or weapon, it pulsed with energy like it was alive. What are you talking about?" he asked, his voice cracked, his throat felt dry. She stepped closer. Her eyes locked onto him, glowing brighter as if warning him. Her words carried both fear and fire. "You will fix this," she said. "You will help me. Or everything burns." Ethan stepped back, his boots scraping the floor. He wanted to run, he wanted to shout, but his body refused to move. All he could feel was the heavy weight of her words. The girl raised the object. Holding it out between them, the glow grew stronger. The workshop filled with strange light. The tools on the wall seemed to vibrate. The ground gave a small shudder. "Please," she whispered now, but her eyes stayed hard. "Do not make me use it." Ethan's thoughts spun in circles. If he touched it, maybe it would explode. If he refused, maybe she would lose control. He had faced broken engines, firestorms, even angry traders before. But this was different. This was something that could change everything. He hesitated, his hands twitched but stayed at his sides. The seconds stretched like hours. The girl's lips trembled for the first time. Ethan noticed her shoulders were shaking, not from anger but from exhaustion. She had been running, she had been hunted. And this device in her hand was the only thing keeping her alive. "Why me?" Ethan finally whispered, his voice barely carried in the cold air. "Why not someone else?" Her answer came quick. "Because you are the only one left who can." Ethan felt his chest tighten. He looked at the device again, its glow reflected in her alien eyes. In that light he saw both danger and desperation. It was not only a threat, it was a plea. Outside, the wind howled louder. Shadows moved past the small workshop windows. Shapes in the dark, not human, not friendly. The girl's eyes flicked toward them for a moment, then back to him. Her voice dropped low. "They are coming." Ethan's heart jumped. He finally understood. The hunters, whoever they were, had chased her here. And now he was trapped in her storm. The mechanic's hand slowly rose, his breath shook. His mind screamed at him to be careful. Every move felt like stepping onto thin ice. He looked at the alien girl again. Her eyes were waiting. Demanding, begging, he swallowed hard. His hesitation was not gone, but it was fading. He could not walk away, not anymore. The girl held the glowing device closer to him, almost pressing it against his chest. Her whisper was both a warning and a promise. "Do it now, human," she repeated, "or I swear, I'll do it myself." And in that moment, Ethan knew his life was no longer just his own. The choice he made next would decide more than his fate. It would decide hers, and maybe the whole colony's. The workshop shook again, this time not from the wind but from something moving closer outside. The lights flickered, the air felt heavy. Suspense thickened like smoke. Ethan stood frozen, caught between fear and courage, between running and helping, between hesitation and action. His breath echoed in the silence. The girl's glowing eyes never left him. Her threat cut through his fear, sharp as a blade, and yet, behind the threat he saw something more, a spark of hope, fragile but alive, waiting for him to choose. And still, for one final heartbeat, Ethan hesitated. Ethan stood frozen in the workshop, his eyes locked on the glowing device in the alien girl's hands. The strange light pulsed like a beating heart, filling the small space with shadows that danced on the walls. He wanted to believe it was just a bluff, but the fire in her voice told him it was real. "Do it now, human," she repeated. Her voice was not loud but sharp and cutting. It carried the weight of something more than fear. It was a command mixed with desperation. "Or I'll do it myself." Ethan's throat tightened. His chest felt heavy. He had worked on countless machines in his life. He had seen reactors spark, engines fail, power lines burst into fire, but never had he faced something that looked alive. Something that hummed like it carried a soul inside, he whispered. "If I touch it wrong, it could kill us both." The girl's silver blue skin shimmered in the glow. Sweat ran down her temple. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days, but her grip on the device did not shake. Her eyes drilled into him, glowing brighter with every second. "I don't care," she hissed. "Better to burn than let them take it." Ethan's heart thudded. He stepped back, his hand brushing against the cold steel of the workbench. Behind her words, he could feel the storm of fear, but also a secret, something bigger than he could yet see. The pounding outside grew louder. The shadows moved again past the workshop windows. Low growls echoed in the distance. Whoever they were close, and the girl knew it. "What is that thing?" Ethan finally demanded, his voice cracked, his fear turned into anger. "Why bring it here?" "Why me?" The girl's lips tightened, her jaw clenched. For a moment she looked like she wanted to scream, but then her eyes softened only for a second. "Because you hesitate," she said. "And hesitation means you still think. You are not like them." Ethan froze. Her words cut deep. He didn't know what she meant, but it felt like she had studied him, like she had been watching him before she entered. The glow of the device flared. The ground trembled. Tools rattled on the walls. Ethan realized this was no simple weapon. It was unstable. It could break apart at any moment. "Please," the girl whispered now. Her voice cracked for the first time. "Don't make me carry this weight alone." Ethan's hands twitched. He wanted to take it from her, but fear glued his feet to the floor. What if it exploded the second he touched it? What if she was tricking him? The sound outside grew louder, claws scraping metal, voices speaking in guttural tones. The windows rattled. A shadow fell across the door. "They are here," she breathed. Her eyes darted to the door, then back to him. Her grip tightened on the device. "If you refuse me, I swear I will set it off. I will end everything before they can claim it." Ethan's blood turned cold. He finally understood. This was not just a threat against him. It was a threat against everyone. The whole colony. If she unleashed that thing, it could wipe out everything within miles. His hesitation deepened. He saw two paths in front of him: help her and risk his own life, or stand frozen and watch her destroy everything. Neither choice felt safe. The girl took a step closer. The light of the device reflected in her alien eyes. Her voice dropped low, steady now, almost like a vow. "You think I am bluffing, but I am not. My people are dead because I waited too long to act. I will not make that mistake again." Ethan's chest tightened. He saw the pain in her eyes. It was real, raw, unhidden. She was not threatening out of malice. She was threatening out of loss. The door suddenly shook. A loud bang echoed through the workshop. Dust fell from the ceiling. Ethan jumped back, his heart hammered. The girl did not flinch. She kept her eyes on him. Her grip firm. "Choose, human," she whispered. "Choose now." Ethan's hands rose slowly. Trembling, he felt sweat run down his back. His fingers reached toward the glowing device. The air buzzed with its strange energy. The closer he came, the heavier it felt, like it was pulling him in. The girl leaned closer, her face inches from his. Her breath came fast. Her voice was sharp but shaking at the edges. "If you fail me, if you betray me, I will destroy us all." Ethan swallowed hard. His throat was dry, his mind screamed to step back, but his heart pushed him forward. He touched the edge of the device. Heat surged through his skin, his muscles tensed. It was like holding lightning in his bare hands. The glow flared so bright the workshop filled with blinding light. Both Ethan and the girl winced. The walls groaned. The hunters outside howled. But the device did not explode. It pulsed softer, almost calmer, as if it recognized his touch. The girl's eyes widened. Her breath caught. For the first time, her grip loosened. She stared at him like she had seen a ghost. "It listens to you," she whispered, disbelief in her tone. Ethan's chest rose and fell quickly. His mind was spinning. He wanted to pull away, but something told him if he let go now, it would kill them both. The girl's threat still hung in the air, sharp as a blade, but in her eyes Ethan now saw something else. Hope, fragile but burning. The pounding on the door grew louder. The enemy was almost inside. The device glowed between them, alive and waiting. And Ethan realized his hesitation was no longer just about him. His choice now would decide the fate of everyone on this colony. The pounding on the door shook the workshop like a drum. Dust fell from the ceiling. Ethan gripped the glowing device with both hands, his knuckles white. The heat of it crawled through his arms. The alien girl's hand still rested on the other side, keeping it steady. Her silver-blue skin shimmered under the strange light. Ethan's breath came fast. His body screamed to let go, but something deep inside told him not to. The device had calmed in his grasp. The wild pulses softened as if it recognized him. The girl's eyes never left his face. "You see now," she whispered, almost trembling. "It accepts you," Ethan frowned, sweat dripping down his forehead. "What is this thing?" he asked, his voice sharp with fear. "What are you dragging me into?" The girl's lips pressed tight. For a moment she looked like she didn't want to answer. Like the truth itself was heavier than the device. But the banging outside grew louder, claws scraping against metal, deep voices snarling in a language Ethan didn't know. There was no more time to hide. Finally she spoke. Her voice was low, filled with a strange sorrow. "It is a seed," she said. "Not of life, but of death, unless handled by the right hands." Ethan's stomach dropped. He stared at the glowing object. It pulsed softly like a living heart. A seed? The word didn't make sense. It looked like a machine, not something that could grow. A seed for what? He demanded, his voice shaking. The girl's eyes flicked toward the door, then back to him. Her hands pressed harder against the device. "My people built it," she whispered. "Long ago, before the hunters betrayed us. It was meant to create energy. Endless energy to feed cities, to light entire worlds." Her voice broke for a second. But they twisted it. Her eyes darkened and her voice dropped lower. "Now in the wrong hands it becomes a weapon. It can grow inside the ground, spread like roots. Drink everything around it, fire, water, even life itself. Until nothing remains but ash." Ethan's mouth went dry. His chest tightened. He almost dropped the device. But her grip kept it steady. His mind reeled. This was no simple weapon. This was something far worse. "You mean?" Ethan swallowed hard. "If they get it, they will plant it here," the girl cut in sharply. Her glowing eyes burned. "This colony, your people, everything will be consumed, and then they will move to the next world. And the next." Ethan's legs trembled. The weight of the device suddenly felt crushing. He understood now why she had threatened him, why her voice carried both fire and desperation. She was not just trying to save herself, she was trying to stop the end of everything. A crash at the door snapped him back. A metal panel bent inward, claws tearing through. The hunters were forcing their way inside. Their growls filled the air. The girl moved closer, her shoulder brushing his. Her eyes burned into him. "Do you see now why I threatened you?" she asked, her voice cracked, but her will did not. "If you had refused, I would have destroyed it myself. Better to burn than to let them spread it." Ethan swallowed. His hesitation weighed on him like chains. He could still walk away. He could still let fear rule him. But then he looked at her trembling hands, her exhausted face, her eyes filled with both pain and hope. For the first time, he understood the truth. Her threat was not against him. It was against fate itself. "What do you want me to do?" Ethan asked, his voice steadier than before. His fear was still there, but now it was mixed with something else. Something heavier. Responsibility. The girl's lips curved into the faintest trace of relief. "You will fix it," she said firmly. "You are human, you see machines differently. The seed listens to you already. You can repair what I cannot." The device pulsed again, softer this time, as if agreeing. Ethan's chest tightened. He didn't know why it responded to him. He wasn't a soldier or a hero, he was just a mechanic, a man who fixed broken engines and rusted doors. But maybe that was exactly why machines trusted him, because he treated them like they were alive. The door groaned again. A clawed hand burst through, snapping the lock. Shadows stretched across the floor. Ethan's pulse raced. The girl leaned closer, whispering fast, urgent. "When the door breaks, they will not care if you are human or not. They will kill you and rip it from your body. But if you trust me, if you hold on, we can escape with it, and maybe save your world." Her words burned through his hesitation. His breath shook, his heart thundered. He finally nodded. The girl's eyes softened for the first time, like the weight crushing her had shifted slightly onto his shoulders. "Good," she whispered. "Then we fight together." The metal door cracked open. The hunters roared, the workshop filled with the sound of claws and rage. Ethan gripped the seed tight, its glow lighting his face. For the first time, he did not step back. He had hesitated before, but now, with the secret revealed, he knew there was no more room for hesitation. The alien girl's threat had changed into a plea, and that plea had changed into a bond. Ethan stood ready, his fear burning into fragile courage. The hunters were coming, and the fate of the colony rested in his hands. The door burst open with a deafening crack. Metal tore like paper under the hunter's claws. A wave of cold night air rushed into the workshop, carrying the smell of iron and ash. Ethan's heart slammed in his chest. The girl pulled closer to him, her hand gripping the edge of the glowing seed as if it were her lifeline. Dark shapes filled the doorway, tall and bent, their bodies covered in black armor that looked grown, not built. Their eyes glowed red in the shadows. Their voices rumbled like thunder as they hissed in their alien tongue. The lead hunter stepped forward, its claws dripping with sparks from tearing through steel. It scanned the room, its eyes locked onto the device glowing in Ethan's hands. A guttural laugh echoed from its throat. Low and cruel, Ethan froze, his legs shaking. He had never seen creatures like this up close. They looked more beast than soldier, more predator than anything else. The girl stepped in front of him, shielding him with her small body. Her voice cut the air like a blade. "You will not take it." The hunter snarled. The leader raised its claw, ready to strike her down. Ethan's breath caught. For 1 second, his old hesitation clawed back into his chest. He wanted to run, to hide. But the girl's words from earlier echoed in his mind. "If you refuse me, everything burns." Before he knew it, Ethan moved. He grabbed a wrench from the bench with his free hand and swung it with all the strength he had. The metal cracked against the hunter's claw. Sparks flew. The beast roared in rage. Staggering back for just a moment, "Run!" the girl shouted. Her voice snapped like lightning. She grabbed Ethan's arm and yanked him toward the back of the workshop. The glowing seed pulsed violently in his grip, almost reacting to the chaos. They ran, boots slamming against the floor behind them. The hunters roared and crashed into the room. Tools and machines shattered under their strength. Ethan and the girl pushed through the back door into the cold night. The wind whipped against their faces. The colony streets stretched out before them, empty. Dark, silent. But silence did not mean safety. "Where are we going?" Ethan gasped, his lungs burned. "To the hills," she said quickly. Her eyes flicked toward the dark mountains beyond the colony lights. "If we can reach the caves, they cannot track us easily." Ethan almost laughed. Not from joy, but despair. "Caves? That's your plan?" Her glowing eyes cut into him, fierce and unshaken. "Do you want to live, human?" Ethan had no answer. He just kept running. The seed grew heavier in his hands, its glow brighter with every step. He felt as if he were carrying a second heartbeat, one that did not belong to him. Behind them, the hunters poured into the streets. Their heavy steps pounded like drums. Their growls filled the night. They moved fast, too fast. The gap was closing. The girl turned sharply into a narrow alley. Ethan nearly tripped trying to follow. The walls were close, the shadows thicker. She pressed her palm against a panel hidden in the stone wall. A door slid open, small and rusty. She shoved Ethan inside before jumping in after him. The door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed them. Only the glow of the seed lit their faces. Ethan's breath came in ragged gasps. His chest ached. Sweat poured down his face. "They know we're here," he whispered. His voice was shaky. "They'll tear the whole colony apart to find us." The girl nodded, her expression grim. "Yes," she said. "That is why you must keep moving." Ethan wanted to scream. His whole body hurt. He had lived his life fixing broken machines, not running from monsters, but here he was, carrying the most dangerous thing he had ever touched, with death hunting him at every step. The girl knelt beside him, her voice dropped low, softer now. "Listen to me, Ethan," she said, using his name for the first time. "If they take this seed, your people will not just lose your colony. You will lose your world. And when your world is gone, mine will follow. There will be nothing left." Her eyes glistened in the dim glow. Her voice shook but stayed strong. "I cannot do this alone. That is why I came to you. That is why I threatened you. Not because I wanted to, but because I had no choice." Ethan stared at her. The pounding outside grew louder again. The hunters were searching. their growls echoing down the empty streets. He tightened his grip on the seed. Its pulse thudded against his palm like a living thing. He realized then that her threat had not just been to scare him. It had been her last weapon against despair, her only way to force him to see what was at stake. For the first time, Ethan's hesitation cracked. In its place grew something else, shaky but real. Determination. "All right," he whispered, his voice steadier than he felt. "We run to your caves, we hide, but after that, you're going to tell me everything." "No more secrets," the girl nodded once, her face serious. "Agreed." A crash shook the alley. The hunters were close, too close. "Move," she ordered. Her hand grabbed his arm again. Together they bolted through the dark passage deeper into the colony's underbelly. The glowing seed lit their way like a cursed lantern. Behind them, the hunters howled. Their claws scraped against stone. The chase had begun, and it would not stop until one side fell. Ethan's lungs burned, his legs screamed, his mind reeled. But he kept moving for the first time in his life. His hesitation was gone, and in its place, a single thought echoed. If I stop now, everyone dies. The narrow passage twisted beneath the colony. Stone walls pressed close around them. The glow of the seed lit the path in Ethan's trembling hands. His breath echoed in the tunnel, shallow and ragged. The girl moved quickly ahead, her bare feet silent against the ground. She seemed to know these hidden paths, while Ethan stumbled to keep up. The sound of the hunters faded behind them, but not enough to bring peace. Their growls still drifted through the dark, carried on the wind like a nightmare that refused to end. Finally, the tunnel opened into a cavern, a wide, hollow space carved by old mining drills long abandoned. The air smelled of dust and stone. Here, for the first time, they stopped. Ethan dropped to his knees, gasping for breath. His chest rose and fell like a hammer. Sweat poured down his face. His hands shook around the glowing seed. He wanted to drop it, but he couldn't. It felt alive, like it was clinging to him. The girl crouched nearby, her glowing eyes watching him. She didn't look tired, but he could see the weight on her shoulders, not in her body, but in her silence. He finally spoke, his voice hoarse. "Why me?" He lifted the seed slightly. "Why does this thing... Listen to me." The girl lowered her head for a moment. Her silver hair shimmered faintly in the glow. Then she looked up at him, her expression softer than before. "Because you are human," she said simply. "And humans are different," Ethan frowned. "Different how?" "We're weaker than you, slower than them." He jerked his head toward the tunnel where the hunters prowled. "You could have picked anyone stronger, faster." Her lips tightened, then curved into something close to a sad smile. "Strength is not what this seed hears," she whispered. "It hears will, it hears care. And your hesitation," she paused, her eyes flicking into his, "prove that you think before you act. That is why it chose you." Ethan blinked. His heart gave a small jolt. Her words stung but also carried something strange, a kind of respect he didn't expect. Silence stretched between them. The cavern hummed faintly with the pulse of the seed, like a second heartbeat echoing off the walls. Ethan leaned back against the rock, his chest still heavy. "You threatened me," he muttered, his voice low. "You nearly scared me to death." The girl's eyes dropped. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she whispered, "Because I was afraid too." Her voice cracked slightly, and Ethan froze. He had only seen her as sharp, commanding, filled with fire. Now he saw the edge beneath, the fragility she tried to hide. She continued, her voice soft. "I watched my people die. The hunters came for us one by one. They wanted the seed. They wanted the power. I carried it away. But I had no one left. No one to trust. Every moment since then, I've lived with only this." She looked at the glowing device. "And fear that I would fail." Ethan's chest tightened. He felt a pang of guilt cut through his exhaustion. He had thought only of his fear, his hesitation, but she had been carrying a burden far heavier than his. He finally said, his voice rough but steady, "You're not alone anymore." The girl looked at him. Her glowing eyes flickered. For a moment she almost smiled, but it faded quickly. Her face hardened again, though not as cold as before. "We cannot stop running," she said. "They will not give up. Not until the seed is theirs, but maybe together. We can keep it safe." Ethan nodded, surprising himself with how quickly the answer came. His hesitation, the chain that had bound him for so long, was breaking piece by piece. The hunter's growls echoed faintly again. Closer now. Ethan's hand gripped the seed tighter. The girl's gaze sharpened. She stood and offered her hand to him. "Come," she said. "Trust me, human." Ethan hesitated only for a heartbeat, then reached out. His rough, calloused hand slid into hers. Her grip was firm, stronger than he expected. But there was warmth too, not just strength. For the first time since this nightmare began, Ethan felt something spark inside him, something beyond fear. It was trust, fragile but real. Together, they moved deeper into the cavern. The path wound downward toward the hills outside the colony. The girl led the way, but this time, Ethan did not feel like he was being dragged. He walked beside her, the weight of the seed heavy but no longer crushing. As they moved, Ethan glanced at her. Her sharp profile glowed faintly in the seed's light. Her expression was focused, determined, but he caught small cracks in her mask, a flicker of exhaustion, a tremor in her shoulders. She was strong, but she was not unbreakable. He thought of her words again. "Because I was afraid too." For the first time, Ethan saw her not just as an alien, not just as a stranger, but as someone who carried scars, someone who had lost everything, someone who needed him as much as he needed her. At the end of the tunnel, they paused. A narrow slit of moonlight spilled onto the floor. The outside world waited beyond, silent and cold. The girl turned to him. Her glowing eyes locked onto his. "We fight together now," she said. Almost like a vow, Ethan nodded. "Together," he echoed. They stepped into the night. The stars stretched endlessly above them. The hills rose like dark teeth against the sky, and in the shadows behind, the hunters followed relentless. The chase was not over. But something inside Ethan had changed. His hesitation was gone, replaced by something stronger, something shared. A bond had formed in the fire of fear, and it would carry them into whatever storm came next. The cold night air cut through Ethan's skin as he and the alien girl climbed the rocky hills outside the colony. The glowing seed pulsed in his hands like a living heart. Its strange light spilled across the jagged stones, showing the path ahead but also making them easier to track. Behind them, the hunters howled. Their heavy steps echoed in the night. Claws scraping stone, Ethan's legs burned. His lungs ached. He wanted to stop, but the girl never slowed. Her hand sometimes gripped his arm to pull him forward when his steps faltered. At last, they reached a ridge that overlooked the valley. The colony lights flickered far in the distance. The girl stopped suddenly. Her glowing eyes scanned the shadows below. Her shoulders stiffened. "They are surrounding us," she whispered, her voice tight. "We cannot keep running." "Not like this," Ethan's chest tightened. He looked down the ridge and his blood ran cold. Dark shapes moved in the valley, spreading out, closing the gap. The hunters were herding them into a trap. "What do we do?" Ethan asked, his voice shaking. The girl turned to him. Her expression was hard, but her voice steady. "We stand." Ethan almost laughed in disbelief. "Stand? Against them? Are you insane?" Her eyes burned brighter. "If we keep running, we will be hunted until the end, but if we stand here, if we show them we will not break, we might survive." Ethan's heart pounded. His fear screamed inside him. But then he remembered the look in her eyes when she told him about her people, the fire in her voice when she threatened to destroy the seed rather than let it fall into enemy hands. She was not just fighting for herself. She was fighting for everyone, and now, somehow, so was he. Ethan's grip tightened around the seed. Its glow spread across his chest, almost like it was feeding on his resolve. He took a shaky breath, then nodded. "All right. We stand." The girl's lips curved in the faintest flicker of relief, but her tone stayed sharp. "Then listen to me. When they come, hold the seed high. Do not let it touch the ground. No matter what, if it touches earth here, it will awaken in the wrong way." Ethan swallowed hard. His palms slick with sweat, he nodded again. "Got it." The first hunter appeared on the ridge. Its red eyes glowing like coals in the dark. A growl rumbled in its chest as it crouched low. Its claws scraped sparks against the stone. More hunters followed, shadows spilling onto the ridge like a tide of nightmares. Ethan's heart thundered, his knees threatened to buckle. But he forced himself to step forward. He stood beside the girl. Shoulder to shoulder, his breath shook, but his grip on the seed stayed firm. The girl raised her hand. Energy crackled along her silver-blue skin. Her voice rang out clear, sharp against the night. "You will not take this." The hunters roared. Their leader stepped forward, its massive form towering above the rest. Its red eyes locked onto Ethan. It lifted a claw and pointed at him, speaking in its guttural voice. The girl's face paled. She turned to Ethan, whispering, They know it chose you, that is why they come for you first. Ethan's stomach dropped. Every muscle in his body screamed to run, but he held his ground. The girl's words from before echoed again. You are not like them. You hesitate because you think the leader charged. Its massive body crashing across the ridge. The ground shook under its weight. The others followed, snarling, claws flashing in the seed's glow. Ethan raised the seed high, the glow flared bright, blinding. The hunters hissed and recoiled. Their steps faltered for the first time. Ethan's breath caught. It worked. The seed responded to his will. Now, the girl shouted, her hands burst with energy. Streams of silver light slashing across the ridge. She struck two hunters, sending them tumbling back, their armor cracked. Their roars shaking the air. Ethan felt power surge through his arms. The seed pulsed harder, louder. Its light grew so fierce it cut through the darkness. The hunters staggered, their eyes narrowing, their claws covering their faces for a brief moment. Ethan felt something he had never known in his life. Not fear, not hesitation, courage, he shouted, his voice carrying across the ridge. You want this? You'll have to go through me. The girl glanced at him, surprise flashing in her eyes. Her lips parted as if she didn't believe the human who once froze in fear was now standing like this. The hunters roared again, regrouping. Their leader lunged, swinging its claw at Ethan. The force knocked him back against the rocks. Pain shot through his ribs, but he did not let go. His arms tightened around the seed. He held it high even as his body shook. The girl screamed, her energy flared brighter. She leapt forward, striking the leader with all her strength. The impact sent shockwaves through the ridge. Rocks cracked and tumbled down the valley. The leader staggered but did not fall. Its rage grew fiercer. Ethan forced himself to his feet. His vision blurred, his body ached, but the seed's glow guided him. Its warmth pressed against his chest, reminding him what was at stake. The hunters closed in from all sides. Surrounding them, a dozen red eyes burned in the dark. Ethan took a shaky step forward, his voice raw but steady. We fight together. The girl looked at him. Her glowing eyes softened. For a heartbeat, she almost smiled. Then she turned back to the enemy, her voice strong. Yes. Together, the hunters roared and charged. The ridge shook under the storm of claws and fury. Ethan and the alien girl stood side by side, the seed blazing between them for the first time. Ethan did not think of running. For the first time he stood, and as the battle began, the night itself seemed to hold its breath. The ridge shook under the weight of battle. The hunters roared as they charged in from every side. Their claws flashed in the moonlight, their red eyes burning like fire. Ethan gripped the seed high in his arms. Its glow spread across the stones like a blazing sun. The alien girl stood beside him, her silver blue skin glowing with energy. Sparks of light danced across her hands. She struck the first hunter with a blast that sent it crashing down the slope. Her breath came heavy, but her eyes stayed fierce. The hunters pressed forward. Their leader lunged straight at Ethan. Its massive claw swept toward his chest. Ethan felt his body freeze for a moment, the old hesitation clawing back into him. But then the seed pulsed, stronger than ever. Its warmth surged through him, reminding him of everything. The girl's plea, the colony lights far behind them, the promise he made not to run. He shouted, raising the seed high. The glow flared so bright it turned night into day. The hunters shrieked, their claws covering their faces. The ground trembled, the leader staggered, its growl faltering. The girl's voice cut the air like a blade. Now, human, show them! Ethan stepped forward, his fear burned into something new. His voice carried across the ridge. This is not yours. This will never be yours. The seed pulsed in answer. A shockwave burst outward, blasting dust and rocks into the air. The hunters were thrown back, their bodies slamming against stone. Their red eyes flickered, confusion breaking their rage. The leader roared again, forcing itself up. Its armor cracked, its body shaking. It lunged one last time. Its claw struck Ethan, knocking him to his knees. Pain shot through his chest, his arms shook. But still he held the seed high, he would not let go. The girl screamed his name. She rushed forward, striking the leader with a final surge of light. Her whole body glowed like a star. The energy burst out, slamming into the hunter's chest. With a thunderous roar, the beast toppled backward, crashing down the ridge. Silence followed, broken only by the wind. The other hunters growled low but did not attack. Their eyes flicked from the glowing seed to Ethan. They saw his trembling form, blood on his lip, yet still standing, still holding the seed that had chosen him. Slowly, one by one, they stepped back. Their snarls fading, they melted into the shadows, retreating into the valley. Their leader was gone, their courage broken. Ethan fell to one knee, his breath ragged, his body screaming with pain. The seed still glowed in his arms, but softer now, its violent pulses calmed. As if it too was exhausted, the girl dropped beside him. Her hands caught his shoulders. Her glowing eyes searched his face. "You did it," she whispered. Her voice shook, not with fear but with something else, relief. Ethan coughed, forcing a weak smile. "We did it," he said, for the first time. The fire in her face softened into something warm. Her lips curved into a fragile smile. Her eyes glistened in the dim light. "Yes," she whispered. Together, the ridge was quiet now. The night sky stretched above them. The stars shone like silent witnesses. Ethan looked at the seed, its glow reflected in his tired eyes. He thought of how it had felt when he first saw it. Like a weapon, like death waiting to happen, but now in his arms. It felt different, it felt alive, but no longer threatening. It pulsed steady, like it trusted him. Like it had changed with him. Ethan turned to the girl, his voice low. "What happens now?" She looked at the horizon, at the faint glow of the colony lights in the distance. Her face carried both sadness and hope. "Now," she said, "we keep it safe, you keep it safe. Because it is not just my people's burden anymore, it is yours too." Ethan nodded slowly. His chest tightened with the weight of her words. He was only a mechanic, a man who fixed broken machines. But now he carried something far greater. And strangely, he did not feel crushed by it. Instead, he felt changed. The girl reached out, her hand brushing his arm gently, her voice soft. "When I threatened you, I thought you would turn away. I thought fear would rule you." She paused, her glowing eyes meeting his. "But you stood, and because you stood, we are alive." Ethan swallowed. His throat tight, he remembered his hesitation. The fear that had frozen him again and again. But tonight, on this ridge, with the girl at his side, he had broken free, he whispered. "Maybe I needed you to push me. Maybe your threat was the only thing that could wake me up." Her lips curved, a small smile breaking through. "Then perhaps we saved each other." The wind blew gently across the ridge, carrying away the echoes of battle. The hunters were gone, the night was calm again. But nothing was the same. Ethan stood slowly. The seed still glowing in his arms, he looked at the girl. Her silver-blue skin shining faintly under the stars. For the first time, he didn't see her as a stranger, but as a partner, someone who had bound her fate to his. He nodded once, firm and steady. "Whatever comes next," he said, "we face it together." The girl's smile grew warmer. "Together," she echoed. And so they walked from the ridge, the seed glowing softly between them. Two figures against the endless night. One human who had once hesitated, and one alien girl whose threat had changed everything. The galaxy would never know what happened here on this quiet ridge, not yet, but in time it would. For tonight marked the beginning of something greater than fear. It marked the change.